I always loved drawing as a kid. I love cartoons on TV. I love cartoon strips in the newspaper. And most importantly, I love comic books and superheroes. And it all started when I stopped into a 7-Eleven in 1982. This just jumped out at me on the comic rack with the magazines and stuff. I flipped through it and I just fell in love. And there's credits, and I realized people get paid to do this. I can do this for a living, and that was it. I was hooked. Every kid, I like to say, starts off with crayons and drawing and scribbling and doing whatever. But once other interests come into their atmosphere, video games, whatever it might be, sports, they drop the pencil and crayons and move on. But for me, I never did that. It was something that I feel like I had to do. And if I went a few days without drawing something, which was very rare, I would just kind of get anxious because I had to draw. And once I discovered comic books, that was it. I just knew this is something I had to do. So Bart Sears. Bart Sears is an artist that was working for DC Comics in 1991. And I was buying the comics that he was drawing because I liked his art. It just spoke to me the way he drew heroes and the way he told a story. And then next thing I know, when I enter my senior year at the Joe Kubert School, that was the art school I went to, in September of 1991, I see he's on the list as a teacher. So he wasn't one of my teachers, but it was a small school, you could talk to anybody. So I just went, introduced myself to him, showed him some of my work, and I guess he saw something in it because he kind of took me under his wing. And next thing you know, I'm hanging out with him at his apartment as he's working on his Justice League pages. I'm drawing homework, and I would ask him to critique it and give me tips and pointers. And that's basically what he did. He really helped out my art in such a way that I think I grew leaps and bounds in those few months with his guidance, plus what I was learning in school.
I first met Andy when I was teaching at the Joe Kubert School. I was teaching second-year classes. This third-year student, a skinny kid with a lot of hair, always barged into the class and would sit in the back and listen and make comments. And I guess he was skipping his class, but that's how I first met Andy Smith. Right from the start, I knew Andy had what it takes to be a comic book artist. He had all the talent, but he also had the drive, and you really need both of those to succeed in this industry. Andy had that in the third year. His work was ready to go.
Bart helped me so much when I was in school. This right here is a stack of pages that I sent in, or not sent in, that he really helped me with when I was creating them as school assignments, but they were also portfolio pieces that I eventually took up to DC when I went with him, and he would introduce me to editors, and they would give me some pointers on some of these pages. But overall, this is some of the work I did and showed the editors that got me my first job at DC Comics.
When Andy broke into the industry, it was no surprise. I was really happy for him, but he was more than ready. He had the quality of his work was right there.
My first job was actually an issue of a book for DC called Suicide Squad. That book never came out. We'll just leave that story for another time. But I did draw the entire book. It was just never published. But I wouldn't call that my big one anyhow. My big one was this Green Lantern annual #1. This is technically my second job, but this actually came out, so people could say it's the first. 52 pages. I'm basically fresh out of art school. This was very daunting, but Green Lantern, one of my favorite characters of all time growing up, and it's his first annual, so I'd say this is it for sure. I had a great time drawing it. I really enjoyed some of the pages I got to do. Working for the Chicago Bears, since 2018, I've been drawing their players as heroes. And what happened was Bart knew the owner of this company called Athleta Comics, and the owner happened to be a player at the time named Israel Adonijah, who is now since retired, but he was planning his future after playing professional football. and he had a love of comics, so he created this one company. And he struck a deal with the Bears. He pitched them this ad campaign for the 2018 football season called Monsters of the Midway, featuring a lot of the players as heroes with powers and stuff. And I did a tryout piece for him with Mitch Trubisky, who was a quarterback for him in 2018. It was December 2017, and I got a call from Israel's company asking if I would do this piece featuring the player. I had no idea what it was for. They just said that, you know, it could potentially lead to something down the road, you know, in a few weeks. And I guess I passed the test, because every season since then I've been doing some stuff right around the draft for the Bears with some of their players. I always wanted to be able to draw my own stuff, my own characters, and I created one when I was a kid called First Man. And about 5 years ago, I realized I wasn't getting any younger, and I saw some of my friends in the business doing crowdfunding to allow them to publish their own books with their own creations instead of working under, you know, a corporate entity like Marvel and DC. And like I said, I realized I wasn't getting any younger, and it's something I should do now before I look back on it, you know, 15, 20 years from then and go, and basically regret not taking that leap. So that's what I did. And I've been doing the crowdfunding thing ever since.
Andy's been doing this for 34 years, and that didn't surprise me either. The quality of his art, you know, the breadth and the scope of what he does, it's just not surprising that, you know, he's been doing it for so long and is now, you know, one of the old guys. One thing that surprised me is from Andy is that he got into teaching. He taught college classes, private classes, and he even wrote and illustrated a couple of his own how to draw comics books. He's clearly got the skill and the knowledge. It was just a direction I never expected him to go in, and it was really cool to see.
It's tough. It's a lot of work. You've got to have the grit and dedication, because you're going to put a lot of time in at your drawing table, whether you're working on paper or you're working digitally with an iPad or some other type of digital drawing platform.
You just have to remember, your desk is going to become your home. So decorate it nicely, get comfortable, and have fun.